everyone. Tony here. Hope you're doing well. It's Sunday, December 9th. Hope you had a great weekend. I have some very interesting news for you guys. This is not financial or investment advice, and it's around the IMF, crypto, and obviously Ripple XRP specifically. Now, as you know, Christine Lagarde recently, she's the IMF chief economist, has been speaking a lot about cryptocurrencies. In fact, over the past year, I pulled up some articles, going back since 2017. For example, this was reported October 2017, where she said, "We are about to see massive disruptions. IMF's Lagarde says it's time to get serious about digital currency." So she mentioned obviously cryptocurrencies, and this one is from April 2018. Bitcoin boosted as IMF boss Christine Lagarde praises cryptocurrency and suggests it could transform the way people save and invest. And recently, just as I mentioned, she gave that speech. IMF's Lagarde says central banks could issue digital money. And she did mention Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple XRP specifically in her speech. So the IMF is heavily conscious of the cryptocurrency market and what's going on there. At the G20 summit, which the IMF is a part of, they've been talking about taxation of crypto and so forth. Well, recently she said, and this was reported today by the Financial Times, that the U.S. economy is set to slow. And we've been seeing failing fiat currencies around the world. We're seeing stock markets correcting big time, the U.S. Stock market, UK, Germany, and so forth. Also, the Federal Reserve now, one of these, obviously a central bank here, warns that a particularly large plunge in market prices is possible if risk materialize. So a lot of these analysts and people are thinking the economy is going to go into a recession, and that there could be also a big crash because there's just a lot of debt worldwide. We're in a global economy. Everything's interconnected now. And this got me thinking. So what's the purpose of me telling you all this? Well, banks keep $27 trillion, the total amount, $27 trillion in Nostro Vostro accounts. So the reason of me telling you about all this, if the economies were to crash and there was a big economic downturn, and there was a need for liquidity and cash and all of that, where could they go without the Federal Reserve and some of these central banks printing more money? Where could they get existing assets or cash? The Nostro Vostro accounts. Now, I'm going to play a clip here of Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, talking about the amount of money that sits in Nostro Vostro accounts.
How much money is pre-funded and how long does it typically sit there?
There's $27 trillion sitting in these bank-to-bank accounts. They're called Nostro accounts, Vostro accounts.
Yeah.
The bilateral relationship between the Bank of Corey and the Bank of Brad. You can put as much money as you want with the Bank of Brad. But
Brad, I want to make the same invitation to you.
So there you have it, right? Brad saying there's $27 trillion sitting dormant. It's dormant capital. It doesn't do anything. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't do anything, but it sits there for cross-border payments, but a lot of it just sits there in the event they need it. So, like I said, where could the banks pull money from? Those accounts. Now, if they pull money from those accounts, and a lot of it sits overseas in different other banks and different countries, right? If they pull that money, how will they be able to facilitate cross-border payments? Ripple, xRapid, as well as R3's Corda Settler, because both will use XRP. We know it takes minutes or seconds itself to complete a transaction, 1,500 transactions per second, also very cheap to use. And we know both xRapid and Corda Settler will have banks using it, XRP. And Ripple also is working very closely with the IMF. As you can see just recently at the Singapore FinTech Festival, who was Brad Garlinghouse sitting on the stage with? IMF's Ross Lacow. And in that video, I'm not sure if you guys saw the video, but Brad Garlinghouse kind of sarcastically said this, but I know it's based, you could tell by the body language and the way they were talking. He said, isn't the IMF going to hold crypto? And the guy did not respond. He just kind of was like, I don't want to, that's on the wraps, Brad. You know what I mean? So if you saw the video, you would know what I'm talking about. So Ripple's obviously working closely with the IMF. They are also working close with the Federal Reserve. We saw the Federal Reserve since last year endorse them from the Faster Payment Task Force. The Federal Reserve Faster Payment Task Force endorsed Ripple. So there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes here. I'm showing you the facts. This is not a secret message from someone. I'm just trying to put the pieces together here. And we obviously have clear facts. These people are sharing stages. They're in conversations. And there's some endorsements and things that are being said. And that's why I said just recently, Christine Lagarde mentioned Ripple. And she mentioned Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. So my thought process behind this and what I wanted to share is, once again, if there is that economic downturn, and if banks need to go to those Nostro accounts, and the IMF is maybe pushing them to use Ripple's or use XRP via xRapid and R3, this is really great news for Ripple and XRP and for XRP holders. And I believe XRP is going to be number one, like I said, because it's solving a real-world problem, a multi-trillion-dollar problem. And it's the superior technology that's going to disrupt the aging technology, which is Swift. So I wanted to share this with you guys, and I hope you're able to connect the dots here and see what my thought process behind this, because once again, I'm not making this up in a sense of someone sent me a secret message or a riddle or something, right? I'm showing you facts here that these people are connected. They are talking to each other. They're sharing the same stage. There's things that are happening. It seems like things that are in motion here, where some sort of global reset. I don't know. I can't say with 100% certainty that's what it is, but as investors, we look at the moving parts and components here. We look at the facts and try to read between the lines. So I hope you understand that's what I'm trying to do here. And I absolutely think Ripple is working with the IMF. I mean, look just on their website, right? The IMF doesn't sit on just any stage or talk to or partner with any specific company, given the nature of what they're doing, working with banks across the globe, central banks, dealing with different world economies. They're not just going to sit on a stage with a private company, Ripple, if there wasn't something going on here. So this is very interesting. It's just my thoughts, my opinion here. And I think, the way the economies are headed, and just thinking out loud as far as what the banks would have to do and how XRP, via xRapid and R3 Corda Settler could really play a massive role in really solving that problem. Because, I'm not saying this is what it takes for XRP to increase in volume and price. It will, because I believe with the banks going live on it and using it. But I'm saying, what I'm trying to say here is, if we were to have the economic collapse, that process could be sped up, and that process could be more impactful, because we would be, the banks, their backs would be against the wall. The economy, things will be really bad, and we could probably see some sort of reset with digital currencies. I don't know, guys. Just my thoughts here. I want to definitely hear what you guys think, but I hope I'm not off here, but I hope you get why I'm saying this, because I'm connecting some pieces from some facts here. Now, real quick here, Binance to hold inaugural blockchain week in Singapore from the 19th to the 22nd of January in 2019. Eric Van Miltenburg, Senior Vice President of Global Operations at Ripple, is a confirmed speaker. So, seems like there's some big things happening in Singapore. I mean, obviously, we just had the Singapore FinTech Festival, which Christine Lagarde was there from the IMF, Ripple, and a bunch of other people as well. So I want to let you guys know about that. Now, there's an article here on CCN that came out today, and it's what I've been telling you guys, where you have to start thinking like the big money. I think many of us, even myself, when I first got in the market, had a short-term vision where I want to make quick money. And then I realized, thank goodness, I realized that that's not how you gotta play. This is not how you invest or play the market. So even if you're investing in stocks as well, it's many times a long-term hold, and it goes into the details of guys like Mike Novogratz, Jim Breyer, Tim Draper, and so forth, billionaire investors who, sure, they took a loss with the market going down, but they're still actively building out services and still very bullish. And that's how the wealthy think. They're not looking, oh my gosh, week to week, month to month. They're looking quarter to quarter, year to year, and they understand this is a new market. And I wanted just to show you guys some stuff here, and just from, this is the Bitcoin chart, obviously, with the massive parabolic run up and then the correction here. So we might, find a bottom at like a $2,500 Bitcoin, and obviously that reflects in the rest of the market. But we're obviously drastically oversold here, as you can see. There's overbought, obviously, and then there's oversold. So I think there's just a bit more correction to go, and then we hit the bottom. But I'm hoping, personally, that in February we get the SEC to approve a Bitcoin ETF. It could happen, or it could not happen. But I believe that will be a catalyst. But there could be others as well, where, for example, Fidelity launches its services, Bakkt goes live, and maybe they start pushing the marketing behind it. We'll see. It's obviously hard to predict these things, but we can make some educated guesses. That's what I tried to do here. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. You got to look long term, and that's the same way the folks who got in the .com boom in the 90s had to as well. That could mean you have to wait a few years, or it could be faster in this market. We just don't know. Fingers crossed that it's faster in 2019, that we see a takeoff, because we hit the bottom and then, all these companies go live and they start marketing. That will be ideal. So last item I want to share here, basic attention token, is something I hold in my portfolio. I believe it's definitely disruptive. Well, the Brave browser, which the basic attention token runs on, is now available as a default browser in the HTC Exodus phone. So this is news that I reported on a month ago, where they were planning to do it, but it looks like it's officially live, guys. So great stuff for the basic attention token here. So obviously you get rewarded for using that browser with the BAT tokens. And you guys can look up my video on the basic attention token and why I invested in it, because the disruption I thought it would essentially cause, where taking out the middleman of these networks and putting publishers and advertisers in direct correlation, as well as improving tracking and avoiding fraud and for clicks and views and things like that. So definitely something I hold in my portfolio. So anyway, guys, what do you think about my thoughts here with the IMF, Ripple, XRP, the Nostro Vostro issue, especially if you go into an economic downturn and those banks need to pull that cash out from where it's sitting dormantly, and this would further bolster what Ripple is doing with XRP as well as R3. I think that's definitely a possibility, once again, given all the news we're seeing here. So I would love to hear what you guys think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And as mentioned, this is not financial or investment advice. I'll talk to you guys later.